Hey guys, just out in the industrial section of town. Well, I'm actually dropping the truck off to get the winter tires put on, and it just so happens that down here right beside the shop is the entrance to a conservation area. And the reason I know this area is because I follow a gentleman who's done a ton of history, like 300 episodes in the local paper. He's written a couple books, and this is where Stan and I get a lot of our information on, where to go metal detect and find things. And one of his articles was on this place right here. Now, I took you guys many years ago and we walked a little bit of this trail, and I don't remember any of it, to be honest. But according to those articles, this was protected in the 19-teens. So all the way back to the turn of the century. And there were some old ruins in there apparently somewhere. And people have been hiking and picnicking these trails since before 1920. So I thought today we would take a hike, and I've got the big lens, and we'll just see. There's a bunch of wetlands. You can see the edge of the wetlands behind us here. I don't know if there's any birds. It's pretty late in the season, but let's take a walk, see if we can see any old foundations or ruins, and let's see if there's any wildlife. And it's just a way to kill a couple hours while the truck is in the shop. Let's do it. Well, I don't have gauge with me, but I might need one of those. Oh, I'll use leaves. So I believe there is about 9 acres of protected trails here, right? Starts right in the heart of the city and works its way out of town and ends up where we did a metal detecting video not too long ago, the Old Calendar Road. That's where this trail system ends, and then the Old Calendar Road continues out of town. So that was turn of the century as well. So they used established roads and trails from back then to make this system. And I believe if we would come here earlier in the season, I never think of it, because of the wetland that runs in behind, it's quite a birding paradise in here. There are lots of songbirds. 98.7% of the songbirds have now fled south because it's that time of year. We might find something though, you never know. I do see something here that's kind of cool. You can see where the deer have eaten all the bark off this tree. You can see the teeth marks right there. So when you see these lines, 4, 5, 6 in a row repeated over and over and over, that's teeth marks. So I've left the trail and I'm just kind of wandering through the woods up here looking for foundations. And there's all kinds of stones up here, but I don't see anything that's a nice square pattern that I could say, yes, that was the remnants of an old cabin or something. Not yet anyway. But I do see, looking down across the swamp, some beautiful yellow tamarack over there. Maybe we can get an image of those across the swamp. Hey, I know what this is. This is for insects. In this case, specifically, a bee hotel. So that's awesome. So actually, guys, I'm walking down a little bit of a trail here, coming down to the edge of the marsh, and I look over on the edge of the marsh and I can see a bench. They've got a bench over there. I think if we go over there, we'll get a better view of the marsh. And down here by the marsh, here's some evidence of beavers doing some work down here. keeping everything trimmed down. You know, so even though it's not ideal conditions out here today, you know, the sun is not out, the time of year, it's the wrong season to be enjoying birds and things, I would still much rather be out here hiking this trail than sitting in the lobby of the truck place waiting for my truck to be done, right? So that's the way you have to think, guys. It might not be perfect, but it's better than sitting in a lobby. Beautiful down here. I just took an image there. I took another image over here of the red. Just have to have your wits about you and look for the small things to enjoy. Another bench to sit up there. Beautiful. So for anyone new to the channel, guys, I mention it all the time, but in this case, I'm using my phone actually as my wide angle lens today, 24 mils wide. And then I have my long range 150 to 500 lens, which I'm zooming in and using to, you know, pick small things out of a landscape and focus on color or trees across the swamp, things like that. So I have both covered and I don't have to carry two cameras with me. The phones are good enough now. I'm using the S20 Ultra. It's a few years old and the images are actually pretty good from it. So I just want to talk a minute about the channels, all three channels. Unfrequented World, we are doing all kinds of, we're still finishing off the metal detecting season on that channel, and we're moving everything over to Lost Treasures. It's taken an immense amount of time for me to move videos, guys, from Unfrequented World to my Bigfoot page, Bigfooter Gary, and it's taken me the exact same immense amount of time to move all the metal detecting over to its own page. And why I'm doing that, I've been thinking about it lately. Why am I doing all this extra work? Well, really, I think it's just a matter of being organized. That's the way I am. My entire life, I have always been like that. And I look at the last 7 years that I've been on YouTube hardcore, doing tons and tons of videos. I've probably got over 2,000 videos done for you guys. And if someone goes to Unfrequented World, it's very jumbled. It's they don't know what we are. We have no identity. We are just Gary's hobby channel is what that is. And that's awesome. That's what I set out to do. However, it costs us lots of viewers. It costs us sponsorships, things like that, because people don't know or understand what the channel is. So by me breaking it up and saying, boom, here's a metal detecting only channel, you know what you're getting when you go to that channel. Boom, here's Bigfooter Gary. What are you getting? You're getting Bigfoot. That's all you're getting. And people know. So I think I'm going to concentrate on Unfrequented World in the future. People are saying, well, if we get rid of metal detecting, we get rid of Bigfoot, what do you have left? We have tons of stuff left, guys. Photography, right? We've been doing photography. That's what Unfrequented World was when I started, was a photography hobby. You know, check out gear. What happens if we do this with this gear? What happens if we buy this teleconverter? You know, stuff like that. The other thing I want to do with Unfrequented World is it's going to become more of a transcending website. We're going to talk about the spirituality side of things, you know, just my thoughts on all of that. Keeps myself healthy in terms of mental awareness and attitude. And you guys seem to appreciate that series. And then I want to do more spirit box and stuff like that, because I believe in what we do there, the investigations, the paranormal stuff, guys. We get information that it just blows my mind. Okay, so that's what Unfrequented World is going to become. And the other two channels are what they are, metal detecting and Bigfoot. Seeing as we're out here doing photography and talking photography, A7R5 Sony released today or announced today. I don't know when you can get your hands on one. Now, I own the A7R3 and I think it is a phenomenal camera, one of the best out there. Can I justify buying an A7R5 for $5,000? Nope, I don't think so. And still get the shots I'm after using what I've got. And I think the next couple of years, we're gonna continue to keep using the old A7R3. Just wanna show you guys the beautiful tamaracks all around behind here. They're starting to drop their needles now. It's not gonna be long. Another week at the most. And everything in here is gonna be barren, no more color. Oh, this is definitely a foundation. Look at this. Look at this. This is a place we can come. This is as old as any that we go miles and miles in the bush to find. It's right here. We can detect right here. I'm so stoked that we found that right here. I believe there's more than one foundation in here. So again, I found this by reading about articles done by a local historian. Most people would just think of this as a place to walk your dog. But with a little bit of research, it reminded me that before this was conservation area, people were just living in here, right? Before the city became the city, the first settlers that moved in here, they didn't know where the roads or anything were going to be. And they just happened to build in the wrong spot on the wrong side of the swamp, because everything became built up over there and there were no services, you know, coming across the big swamps and things like that. So they just, you know, we're moving out of here after 30, 40 years and nothing's available. Everybody over there's got electricity, right? Who wants to stay here? And they didn't. They just packed up and moved. So I brought my rain jacket today. Just having the big heavy camera out here, I thought, you know, it looks like rain, but it is so hot. I am sweating. So, you know, I'm just looking through the woods here. I see something, and I know you guys watching my other channel are going to say right away, we know what you're looking at. I'll flip you around. There's a big X over here, a couple of trees. There's also a black squirrel running back and forth. I'll try to see if I can get a shot of this black squirrel. So you can see the X behind me right there, but it's an optical illusion. It's really not a big X. One tree is like 25 feet behind the other tree. So as I'm getting closer, I can see it's not, they're not leaning against each other. Watch the X. No more X. So the trails here are fairly busy. I've probably passed a dozen people in a 45-minute hike. So lots of people in this area are using them just to get out and get exercise. And on a normal day where we didn't have whatever that construction going on back there is, it would be a fantastic place to come see a little bit of wildlife, I guess, right on the edge of town. The marsh probably would be great for birds. And because it's such easy access to get here, we may come back in the spring and just see what kind of birds we get once they start migrating back. You know, people are always asking me, how long did it take you to become such a good photographer? And, you know, how expensive is your gear? And yeah, that all plays part in it, guys. But the biggest thing, like especially being out here, is not your photography skills. It's your looking skills, your paying attention skills. You've got to find something to photograph first, right? So you have to pick out that little spot of color, or the chipmunk who's rustling the leaves over there. You can't see him, you just see the leaves moving, right? It's all about paying attention. And the more you pay attention, the more things you're going to see to take photos of. The more photos you take, the better you get. But if you don't have that skill of paying attention and looking around you, that's half the battle right there. How many of you would take the time to notice this one little berry left on the end of this branch? That's the kind of stuff you gotta look for. A little bit of color. It's the last of fall. You can get a good photo with that. Trust me, here, take a look. And the kids have been leaving what they see on their walks. I'm gonna flip you around, take a look at this. It made me chuckle. Bugs and a porcupine and a snake and dogs, a butterfly on May the 12th, 2019. Yellow something birds and humans. If I had a pen, I would have wrote on there 1 black squirrel, 1 chipmunk, 2 dogs, and a dozen humans. I should mention that we're not even using the A7R3 today, guys. We're using my A6600, so that's not even a full frame camera. So if you like the images you see from this camera, then, you know, again, I don't have any justification for buying a new $5,000 camera. So anyway, let me know in the comments below. Thanks. I'm sorry, guys, but I gotta do it. I gotta do it. G'day. Oh, not too much. I gotta do this bit. That's not a lens.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
That's a nice lens.
It is. It's you're shooting a Tamron too? 1728. I own that lens. Awesome. I just had a pretty good chat with that guy. We were comparing gear. We've got the same stuff, or he's got some of the same stuff that I have. So you know, it's a great hobby for meeting people. And everybody, you're not going to find anybody who doesn't want to talk photography gear with you when they're out taking pictures on the trail. So it's an awesome way to meet people.